I have 3 or 4 words for you. Spider web cupcakes. It's a Halloween treat I haven't made in a while, but I'm gonna bring you along. I'm gonna show how I make it from scratch, but I have a budget way of doing it if you don't wanna make it from scratch. So, budget versus from scratch. Which one will you choose? My first step is to preheat my oven to 350. The first thing I'm going to do is put my flour in this bowl right here. We are going to put, we're not making a full recipe, so I'm doing a half a recipe, and there'll be 3/4 cup of flour. Then I need 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. I will link the recipe down below so you can follow along with the recipe if you so desire. So I need 3/4 teaspoon. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon. So I need 3 in there. And then I need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I just use regular Morton salt. And we're going to put a half a cup of sugar. This is only for 6 cupcakes. So like I said, you just follow the regular recipe. It will be for 12. There's only 2 of us, my husband and I, so we certainly don't need 12 cupcakes. But we are, oops, there went my oven. So to this, we're going to add, okay, I like to just whisk all the ingredients, the dry ingredients together. Then I will take my milk, that's a 1/4 cup, and I'm going to crack my egg in there, and we're gonna mix that up. And we have some vanilla we're going to add. We're going to add a half a teaspoon of vanilla. So there we go. And we're gonna mix it all together. And they're baked for 350 degrees for about 15 minutes, and there goes that cabinet door again. These cabinets will not stay shut. The latch is fine. I live in an old farmhouse, so your guess is as good as mine. To this, I'm gonna add my melted butter. Now it's only a quarter of a cup because I'm only making 6. But we're just gonna mix it around there. And I have these little cutesy cupcake liners, so I think I'm gonna try those. They're not actually liners, they're like the silicone. I'll show you, just come along. So my oven is preheated, so we are going to get the cupcakes ready. That's what the cupcake batter looks like, and I'm gonna put it into 6 of my silicone molds. This one looks dirty, so is this one. Okay, those are the silicone molds we're gonna put this batter into. So let me get rid of that, and we're gonna fill up the molds 2/3 full is what you wanna do, so they don't overflow. As you can see, it's empty. It filled up 6 of these silicone molds. If I didn't mention before, this is a Giada recipe, and I will link it. It's her vanilla cupcakes. I make these cupcakes without fail, Giada vanilla cupcakes. If you look that up on TV Food Network or online, her recipe will come up, but I'm gonna link it down in the description. Foolproof cupcakes every time. That's if you wanna make it from scratch. Now stay tuned or skip ahead to the time codes to see what you could do for a budget meal or budget cupcakes. Say you don't have the time or the money to spend on all the ingredients and you want to do it quickly, I'm going to tell you how. So these are all ready. We're going to put them in my 350 oven, as you can see. And we're going to set the timer for 15 minutes. That should be enough time. I'm going to chat here with you while the cupcakes cook. Now, if you are out of time, you don't have time or the money for all the different ingredients, get yourself a good box mix. You can even go to Dollar Tree and get a $1.25 box mix. And you can get Pillsbury frosting, white frosting. I'm gonna make my own frosting from scratch, but go and get those two items, cook the cupcakes. The finishing touches that I am going to show you on these cupcakes, you can do on your box mix and frosting from the tub. You can do these same finishing touches for your cupcakes. So let's get ready. Now for the frosting. We have the powdered sugar in here. To the powdered sugar, we're going to add some vanilla. Again, I'm going to add half a teaspoon. I'm going to add some melted butter. And I'm going to add a little bit of milk. And we're going to mix that up. I'm just mixing with a spatula, as you can see. And we're going to, if we need to add more powdered sugar because it's not thick enough, I can add some more powdered sugar to it. But I think it'll be fine. So this is going to create some vanilla frosting. I put butter, butter in there, powdered sugar you put in there. And let me show you. Here we go. We got our frosting here. It was butter, powdered sugar, a little bit of milk, and vanilla. And I'm gonna mix it up till it's velvety smooth and put it in the fridge for when our cupcakes are done. I could probably use a hand mixer, but I don't feel like getting it out and dirtying it. So I'm just going to mix it by hand. It'll be just fine to frost. So the next part of this is to melt some chocolate because we're going to make a little design on top of the cupcakes. I'm going to boil some water here, and I have this little pan that I can melt a couple of these. They're called Wilbur buds here in Pennsylvania. There's a factory called Wilbur Chocolate Factory, and they made these, instead of Hershey Kisses, they call them Wilbur buds. And they carry them at some of the local stores in the area here in Lancaster. So we're gonna melt some of this, and hopefully it'll melt nice for me. I've had some issues with trying to melt chocolate, but hopefully this will come out good. So now the cupcakes are done, they're cooling, and we're gonna work on melting the chocolate. So I take out the silicone molds out of the hot pan and let them finish cooling here on the plate before I take the cupcake out of the mold. I usually let them go about 5 to 7 minutes, cooling off on their own. And then, as you can see over there on the stove is where my pot is, where I melted some chocolate. And next is my secret step. Okay, so I gently pull the mold off. And as you can see, the cupcake is coming out. But I try to do it very gently. And see, that one came out easy. So we're gonna let that one go. So right now, we're still in the cooling phase. Okay, the frosting is all cool. Now, a lot of people would just dunk and then they're frosted. It's a quick way of doing it. I prefer to just take a little bit of frosting and frost my cupcakes. Now, this is what I'm gonna show you, what I usually do with my cupcakes. Hold on. I melt some chocolate and I do any kind of design, but usually I go like a round circle. Oh, you can't see it, 1 second. I do a round circle like this and do like a spider web design. And it depends what you want to do. You could also get like fake chocolate and do this. They sell the tubes, but I think this is better because it's homemade. But you can do the tubes and it will come out probably more uniform than doing it yourself. And like for these, I take a knife like this and go like that and sort of make a little design. They're not perfect by any means. I am not a fancy baker, but they will do for what I need them for. And sometimes I just want to put a mound of chocolate. So I will just put a mound of chocolate on top. So now this was kind of a fail on the cobweb sign because they didn't really come out correctly like they're supposed to. A lot of times I will get the little tube and it's a little bit easier. I didn't have any today, so I melted some chocolate, but that doesn't work exactly the way it's supposed to. Anyway, the cupcakes were delicious. Okay, so that's my homemade spider web. It's a little bit lopsided, I guess, but it's mine just the same. And these cupcakes are delicious. Even though the spider web didn't come out exactly the way I expected it to, delicious item to serve to your family.